I would say that feminism has played a big part in that. I think the feminist movement probably started out really great, and those intentions were wonderful with getting equal voting rights and all of that, but it's gone too far. And one of the quotes from your book that I love says, femininity is undervalued. Feminism doesn't seek to make women better or more feminine. Feminism seeks to make women into terrible versions of men. And I talk a lot about masculine and feminine on this podcast. So what does the healthy feminine look like to you?
Well, there's like the green flag side of things and like the red flags, green lights, red lights, sort of thing. I find it easier to help guys when I'm dealing with them, more specifically on what to avoid. So what not to do. So I think that if you start with that, for the most part, you're not going to invite a tremendous amount of chaos into your life. So I tend to approach things that way. I mean, that's why I have a chapter in my book on red flags to avoid with women, sort of thing. So if you want to talk about that stuff, we can get into things like that.
Yeah, I loved the red flags. And actually, some of them were a little hard to hear because I'm like, oh, that's me and that's me.
How do you deal with that?
I sit with it and I'm like, okay, well, why does that trigger me a little bit? Like, what is he saying when you talk about women that have tattoos? I can see why that would be a red flag, especially for men who are trying to find a feminine woman. Like,
because you've got the tats, you got the boss bitch thing, you got the single mom thing.
Yeah. So, but going into the dating thing. So once I got divorced, going into the dating thing, I was like, I'm the woman. I know what I want. I'm the boss. I don't need a man. Well, then I was only attracting betas, and that wasn't what I wanted. So I had to figure out how to trust a man to be the masculine, give him the space to be the masculine, and step back and fall into my feminine. And that's when I found a masculine man who doesn't put up with my bullshit. And that's exactly the kind of man that I wanted. But nobody tells us that. They tell us, take care of yourself and don't depend on a man, all of the toxic shit.
Sorry, I should turn off my ringer.
That's all right.
And actually, the audio clipped for about 4 seconds there. You and I lost our connection, so I didn't hear what you said. So probably go back about 10 seconds and let's re-record that part.
Okay.
Sorry, let me just turn off this ringer so it doesn't go off again.
You're good. I think there's so many contradicting ideas out there when they tell women to be independent and self-sufficient, and then we don't need a man at all, and it completely eliminates them from our space. But we want a man, and we only end up getting the wounded or the betas, and that's not who they should be in their best form either.
I would agree. Yeah, the sexual marketplace is very messed up. There's a lot of weak men. There's few strong men. There's strong men that have a difficult time, maintaining strength and frame in relationships because women inherently test a man's frame to see how strong it is and if he's competent enough. And it's what often puts guys through the process of betatization through 1,000 concessions. So it's very, very difficult out there to maintain a long-term relationship. I've had loads of conversations with guys that are looking to move from dating to long-term relationships. And I always tell them, if you haven't mastered dating, like if you don't know how to date, if you don't know how to deal with women on a short-term basis, you're going to suck at dealing with women on a long-term basis. Like it's game on hard mode, right? So yeah, there's a lot of complexities around that narrative.
Yeah, well, a lot. And one of those that I think complicates things is one of your red flags, and that's daddy issues.
Right.
In so many families nowadays, the dads are not present because of divorce or whatever else is going on. And so it's feeding the cycle of now women who don't respect the father in the home and in their what should be their frame as well, because they don't know that figure and therefore pass that along to their kids. They're okay with the dad not being in the picture. I don't know how we stop that cycle one relationship at a time is what I've come to think. But so you have a daughter, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have a son and a daughter. And so that's where I find your stuff really interesting, because as a mother of a son, I don't want my son to get fucked over. I don't want him to go through all of this and then all of a sudden maybe get divorced and not have access to his kids and be, run over the coals financially. What is the best advice that you will give your daughter down the road?
Well, I think daughters and sons are different. So do you want to talk about boys first, since you've got a son?
Yeah, let's talk
Is
about
it
boys first.
okay? So is his dad around?
Yes. Well, so we have them 50-50. So we're each, and they're both.
Yeah. So encourage his father to spend as much time as he can with him and do, masculine things, teach him masculine pursuits. Boys have to learn relationship models from their fathers. They're not going to learn from their mother. If they try to learn it from the mother, that's what creates a lot of betas today, right? Like single mother households are, I hate to say it, they're beta factories. Like most kids that come out of single mother households, the boys are quite weak. Most of the one-on-one consults that I do, when guys do their like Batman origin story, it's always, I grew up in a single mother household. Either she divorced him or he died young or something like that, but they didn't have a strong masculine man. So that's the key thing with boys. I think there's a great author which women should check out if they are mothers, which is Dr. Leonard Sachs, and he's got quite a few books on raising boys and girls because the model is very different. So if you want more resources, I would go there.
Okay.
As far as daughters, the narrative with women is totally different because a woman's value is based on her beauty, right? Women want high value, successful men. Yeah.
Yeah.
Strong, virtuous, can make it rain, know how to make money. They're competent. They're not going to put up with bullshit. They can lead. They just want that kind of guy. And despite what, the toxic feminist narrative tells women, they can pretend to want some, female ally that wears a pink pussy hat and marches with them on Parliament Hill and waves signs about, like abortion rights and all that sort of stuff. They don't want to bang those guys. They want to bang the firefighters, the army dudes, like, the guys that look like that. Right. So
Right.
The thing with girls is if you want her to find her ideal man, the key thing is you have to constantly remind them. And I think it's very, very tough in the world that we live in today because society constantly is trying to remind women to be more promiscuous and take risks that compromise their value as they get older. A woman is concerned with a man's future. A man is concerned with a woman's past. So if she's been around the block, she's made some really bad choices in life, a high value guy will typically, if he's unplugged, will pass on a woman like that and, look for somebody that's a better mate choice over a long-term basis. So like, there's a lot of conversations to have, but it really just boils down to that main thing. And that's not me saying that. That's me collecting evidence from evolutionary psychologists and from a lot of very, very smart people throughout history that have drawn the exact same, conclusion about why men and women mate select each other.
It's going to be hard trying to raise a daughter, and she's going to be getting so many other influences through social media and her own friends and doing their own thing. And that's why I'm like, how do I keep her feminine, but still, I think it's important for women to have their own source of income. I think if you're going to get into a relationship and eventually a marriage, you should have, if you're getting a marriage license, there needs to be a prenup. That should just be automatic. It's a business.
Well, that's two different conversations. So let's talk about marriage, right? Because if I had a son, I would tell him not to get married. If I had a daughter, I would absolutely tell her to get married. It's two totally different conversations. Oh yeah, 100%.
Interesting.
Why would you want to encourage your son to put his financial wealth at risk, especially if he's going to be successful, in an environment where the law hates men? Right.
Well, and that depends on the state that you're in, definitely.
Right. So if you have a daughter, you want the best for her. So yeah, of course you tell her to encourage to marry the guy.
How does that work then? Then who's she supposed to find if you encourage the men not to?
Well, hopefully she listens to her father and does the right thing. And, she finds a guy kind of like him, right? Successful, right, competent, does the right things in life, sort of stuff.
Right.
Then you tell her to be the wife, to be Mrs. Whatever, take his last name, take the attitude and the toxic feminism and the boss bitch stuff and, put it in the trunk and forget about it.
Okay. That's interesting.
Hey guys, I really hope that you enjoyed that short clip. If you did, consider supporting the creation of content by checking out my supplement line. Pinned in the top comment below of this video in the comments, there's a link to the unpluggedalpha.com/shop. When you click through, you'll be able to land over here, and the entire lineup is broken down by category that it performs best in: estrogen metabolism, fat burning, your foundational essentials for health, immune health, performance, and testosterone support. If you check out with coupon code ALPHA10, you'll get 10% off on your first order. There's also the option to use the subscribe and save model, where regular shipments will be sent over to you on a regular basis, and that gives you a little bit of a discount, and your supplement facts are always broken down over here. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys have an awesome day. And again, check out that link. It's pinned in the top comment below in this video. Peace out.